Hello and welcome to Griffin Baptist Church's Bible Study. I'm Gary Wools. I will be the teacher, and today we're going to be looking at chapter 7, Daniel chapter 7. This will be the last session. This is session 4 of this study. It has been a long study. I hope you enjoyed it up to this point. We will finish chapter 7 with this session. We're going to start with chapter 7, verse 21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. This is the little horn that came up out of the head of 10 horns. It plucked up 3 of the horns. This is the Antichrist, and he is going to prevail against them. The saints are the Hebrews, the Israelis. Until the Antichrist, under the Antichrist, Rome becomes a world power again. We must turn to Revelation chapter 13 to find when the Antichrist makes war with Israel. Remember, the church is gone. It left earth in the latter part of Revelation chapter 3 or the first part of Revelation chapter 4. I'm going to read Revelation chapter 13, verses 6 and 7, so we can get a picture of what's going on. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. He is going to rule the entire world. Most Bible scholars believe the first 3.5 years of the tribulation will be a time of false peace and prosperity. The event spoken of in Daniel chapter 21, or 7, verse 21, and in Revelation chapter 13, verse 7 take place during the last 3.5 years known as the Great Tribulation. Verse 22, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom, until the Ancient of Days came. We normally associate the Ancient of Days with God the Father, but this statement is referring to the Lord Jesus Christ. Daniel chapter 7, verse 13 had made a distinction between God the Father, referred to as the Ancient of Days, and Jesus, referred to as the Son of Man. Daniel chapter 7:14, the Ancient of Days gives dominion to the Son of Man, to the Lord Jesus Christ. The Son of Man is none other than the Lord Jesus Christ, which God the Father has given the right to judge the world. And judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. Judgment is not given to the saints of the Most High until the end of the tribulation, when Christ comes to earth and sets up his millennial kingdom. Thus the statement, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Remember, these are the Old Testament saints, and not the church. Verse 23, thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. You might ask how we know this is the Roman Empire, because there have been other kingdoms. Good question, and you would be correct. Nimrod, found in the book of Genesis, set up a kingdom in Mesopotamia. If you remember the story of the Tower of Babel, it was located near the ancient city of Babylon. Egypt also established itself as a dominant power at one time. Another dominant power was the Assyrians, whose capital was Nineveh. God is dealing with the 4 world powers that existed at or later than Daniel's time. The other 3 are not included in God's agenda because he did not choose to include them. Therefore, the 4th kingdom is the Roman Empire, and we are being told it will become a world power again sometime out in the future, known as the tribulation. It will be diverse from or different from all the other kingdoms that ever existed, and it will rule the entire world. In the past, the world powers only ruled what was then the known world. Today we know that the known world was not the entire world. When Rome is raised out as a world power this time, it will rule the entire world, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. It is said that the Antichrist will come disguised as a great humanitarian. He will talk peace, prosperity, and plenty, but it will be that he will glorify himself and not God. It is believed he will make a peace treaty with Israel only to break it later and try to destroy them. Verse 24, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. If I understand this verse correctly, these 10 kings or rulers will form a government that will lead to the rise of the Roman Empire again. Once they have brought the Roman Empire back to life and established it as a world power, the man of sin, the Antichrist empowered by Satan, will destroy 3 of the kings and take control of the government. Apparently, the reason these 10 kings unite to establish a new world government is to try to solve the problems that face the world. Remember, the church is gone, and maybe they are having trouble explaining the disappearance of so many people. Also, the financial crisis and all that will go on with that, they will have to deal with. The Antichrist then appears on the scene with a viable explanation for the disappearance of all the born-again believers and becomes popular. It is this popularity that enables him to subdue 3 kings and gain control of the government. Verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the end times, and the dividing of times. Once the Antichrist gets into power, he starts to reveal his true nature. He turns on God and starts to speak great blasphemies against God, his people, and everyone and everything in heaven. The verse says he will wear out the saints of the Most High. Now he turns on the nation of Israel and greatly afflicts them and persecutes them. He will change the customs and laws of the people and will attack and change the customs and laws of the Israelites. We are told when this is going to happen and how long it will happen. A time and the dividing of time represent 3.5 years. All this takes place in the last 3.5 years of the tribulation, which God calls the Great Tribulation. Verse 26, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. The Lord will allow this to happen for a short time. Then he is going to return and put an end to the persecution of Israel. We have already talked about how Christ will return at the end of the tribulation, judge the Antichrist, and cast him along with the false prophet alive into the lake of fire. Folks, hell is not open at this time. All the lost that die today go to Hades and resides there until the great white throne of judgment at the end of time. However, the Lord cast the Antichrist and the false prophet alive into the lake of fire, which is hell. We see here the first 2 residents of hell. Verse 27, and the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. In verse 26, we saw the end of the tribulation and the Antichrist destroyed. In verse 27, we see the millennium. the 1,000-year reign of Christ along with the Old Testament saints. The Lord is showing Daniel what is going to happen to the nation of Israel. Remember, I said a while back that Daniel did not know anything about the church age. The Lord chose not to reveal this period of time to Daniel. Notice the type of government that Christ is going to set up. It will be a real dictatorship, and Christ will rule with a rod of iron. Christ is not going to ask anyone how they want things done. It is going to be his way or else. He will rule everything and remove all things that offend him and anyone that rebels against him. His rule will be an absolute rule. This is the millennium spoken of here, because at the end of the 1,000 years, time is not complete. We do not go into eternity at the end of the millennium. There will be a short season that the devil will be loosed again to deceive the people. Remember, he has been bound for this 1,000 years, and he cannot deceive anyone. After the short season, then we will see eternity spoken of in Daniel 7:28. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cognitions changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. Daniel has been showing how everything is going to end, and it changed the way he thought about things. Cognitions means one's thinking or thoughts. It is an expression we do not hear today, but our ancestors used this word when they said they were thinking about something. Notice, this had to do with the future, so Daniel kept it to himself. He wrote it down, but he kept it to himself. Have a blessed day.